with the 2024-2025 Kansas basketball season officially behind us, all eyes are on Darryn Peterson and what Bill Self is going to do to reload this Jayhawk roster. And we're here to dive into all of it.
It was good, John. It's your boy JD6 here with my man. Shout out to KC Sports Authority. Make sure y'all go check that podcast out, man.
You heard the man. And welcome in, gentlemen. Full house tonight. It is a great time to talk KU basketball, not only because the season is over, but we've got the man of mystery who has been lost for weeks on end. We got Spencer Gray back in here, and I am super pumped to have you, Spencer. We have missed you. We have missed your hot takes, your basketball knowledge. So we're looking forward to seeing what you bring us tonight. Those of you joining us, we're live here on YouTube as well as over on Twitter, or the X, as some of the cool kids like to call it. I still like to call it Twitter myself. Yes, welcome back, Spencer. So thank you for those of you joining us live tonight. Chat box is always open for you to throw all your takes in. We got a lot we want to get into. Quick recap of the KU Arkansas game. Don't want to spend too much time on the disaster season it was. You've heard all the takes on it, but we got a few things we want to get off about that. But most of it is to talk about what is coming up this offseason. We'll get into some of the portal targets, guys that could return, guys that you want to say goodbye to, maybe talk about some of the guys that could be back. And then, of course, all eyes will be turned towards Darryn Peterson and how Bill Self will retool around him. So let's start with this. And I guess quickly, just while I have a few people in the live so far that I've already paid attention, if you haven't done so yet, go check out our episode on the Royals 2025 season preview that Chris Tenpenny and I did, as opening day is less than 24 hours away. So go check that out if you haven't. Super pumped for baseball season. Austin, I'm going to start with you because you were live on the scene up there calling the game, got to see it live. Just any thoughts that you still feel like you need to get off about this 79-72 loss to Arkansas? Did the game end exactly how we all saw it coming this entire season? Just anything else you feel like you got to get off about this game?
I mean, when KJ Adams went down with his Achilles injury, that's when the game ended, I think, for Kansas.
Oh, that Arkansas was brutal yeah. For KJ. No matter what you think about his career, how he plays on this team, that is the worst way to go out. Just you feel awful for him. Successful surgery this morning. Hopefully he can recover and figure out what's next for him. But man, that sucked.
Yeah, I feel awful for KJ. I mean, he's gotten a lot of criticism this season, and I feel like he's gotten a lot of criticism over the past, especially the past couple of seasons. And you could tell all season long he's the hardest working, player on the team. He brings the energy, when KU needs it the most, and he changes games for us, especially when we're down. And once he went out, it was over. I think Arkansas finished the game on a 15-5 run towards like the final 5 minutes or so, and without KJ, we just looked completely lost. And then you have to go back to the amount of turnovers that KU committed in those final minutes, especially that pass from Dickinson to, I think it was Zeke or DeJuan, I forgot. You can't do that, when the game's close and down to the final minutes, especially in a tournament game. And when you have that many turnovers, you're not going to win any games. Doesn't matter, if it's a tournament game, if it's a conference game, non-conference game, you can't win anything when you turn the ball over as much as you did. But I mean, I really thought Kansas had a chance. I mean, they stayed in it. They started off good, and then Arkansas went on a run and then kind of deflated the momentum. And I think, in the second half, they came out, they started a little bit woozy, and then they were able to cut it and take the lead. And then, once KJ went out, it was over.
Yeah. I've got a stat for you guys here. I didn't like tape this and measure, but there's about a 15-minute stretch of this game. The first 4 to 5 minutes of the first half, the last 4 minutes of the first half, and the last 5 minutes of the end of the game. The 3 stretches of a game that KU tends to be the worst at this year. KU was outscored 41-14 during that stretch, which is crazy, that big of a point spread, but always in the 3 most important parts of the game. Starting off slow, which they've done all season, ending the first half poorly, which they've done pretty much all season, and then coming down to crunch time again, like they've done all season, falling apart down the stretch, whether it's KJ going out, Dewan not doing much down the stretch, or Hunter being completely non-existent the entire second half. Didn't score a bucket, has 3 turnovers in a row, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or at least was partially responsible for that. So this game to me went exactly how we all thought it was going to go. With the way a KU loss typically goes, I think it's just a culmination of the entire season as a whole. You get the best game of AJ Storr's season, 15 points off the bench, but still get the full AJ effect where he watches a rebound go right in front of him, does nothing to go after it, has the cool chase down block, which might be KU's one shining moment they get in the video, gets the put back on the door, this layup. Ryland again, 1-3, doesn't do much. Zeke Mayo, best player on the team for the game for sure. That was a lock, him getting 4+ threes. Didn't do as much in the second half as you would like. But to me, this whole game was just a summary of the season as a whole. Hunter's inability on the defensive side gave the opposing team the ability to attack the paint. Dewan's inability to create shots and be a scoring threat as a point guard failed. And KU ultimately goes out in the first round for the first time since 2006 against Bradley. That was a long time ago now. So a very disappointing loss, but one I think we all saw coming. I think whether KJ goes
down. 05.
Was it 05? 05
I feel like it was 05 in Bucknell, right?
Bucknell and Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah, they was bad. Went exactly how we thought it was going to be. I think whether we win that game or not, I don't think we were going to beat St. John's. I wasn't that confident, especially even if we do win that game without KJ, we're not going any further. So I'm perfectly content with this being a celebration of the fact that the season is officially over. We never have to see that group of guys ever perform to get on the court again. So look excited about that. But I do want to get one thought from you, Spencer, as one of our basketball-minded gurus here. Talk to me about how surprised you were when Bill Self did the unthinkable for Bill Self and went to the zone, which almost completely turned the game around for a stretch. Something we don't ever see, very rarely see, but it was effective. Thoughts on the zone there? Because that was, to me, the only other bright spot of the game.
Yeah. I was I'm not a big believer of the zone. And I was yelling at the TV when we switched. I was like, why are we going zone? We can't make a shot. That's not the problem. And then, sure enough, it's really effective. I thought it was definitely a good move. I think as you saw the game go on a little bit, I think Arkansas made adjustments as well. And the zone, what you typically give up with zones is you can make a lot of threes on them. If you move the ball, if you dump it inside and it collapses, and you started to see that a little bit. I liked it. I mean, it's just crazy that if you make an adjustment during the game, things go better. I don't know. Who would have thought? Yeah. So I do think that was a bright spot for that game. And, I really think if KJ doesn't get hurt, I think we do actually win that game. The team all season reminded me of like a Jenga tower with no moves left, right? If you touch any little part of it, if any one thing goes wrong, it comes crashing down, right? There's no other moves left. And that's what happened. We saw them get out of rhythm when they see one of their perennial, like their senior, go out. I feel like that was rattling, and I feel like that threw them off their game a lot. And that's when you saw the mental mistakes, the bad turnovers. So I don't know. I really wish we would have won this, because looking how bad St. John looked against Arkansas, I think we could have had a good shot against them.
Yep.
So, it is what it is. But, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to not watching this specific roster. I love all the individual guys, or most of the individual guys on the team, but this specific unit I don't want to see again.
Yeah, we've been saying that all season. Individually, love them. Collectively, but
Yeah.
I was an 8-year-old. I'm sorry, 12-year-old. Wow, I don't know why.
Oh my God! Come on,
2006. It would have been a 12-year-old.
Matt.
12-year-old, probably a little upset, crying. Probably at that stage. Every KU exit in March hit me hard, and I was always the guy that said, don't talk to me for 48 hours. I need 2 to 3 days to recover, and then I'll be ready to move on, because I'm always like freaking pissed that we lost, because there's no reason why. But a couple years later, they make up for it with the champ run. But do you guys, I mean, I know JB, you really weren't a KU fan back then, and Austin, thinking about Kansas back in 2006, but you guys got anything from that time?
In 2006, I didn't know KU existed. In 2006, I was a freshman in high school. I guess, yeah, because that would have been. But in March of 2006, I would have been graduating or getting close to graduating from middle school. So my freshman year in high school was 06, 07. But yeah, I didn't know KU existed. I was living in St. Louis at the time, and sports were not on my radar. Lo and behold, a co-host of a sports podcast. But I poke fun at that all the time. I remember actually the first time I ever filled out a bracket was in 2006 2007 era, and that was only because my history teacher made us do it, and I went all chalk because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I just wanted to be over and done with and get the extra credit, and that was it. But we've come a long way.
Shoot, I still remember 2003 watching the national championship, lost to Syracuse, sitting on the floor at my parents' friend's house back then, and I was beside myself as a 7-year-old. That was one of my first KU memories of like actual pain from losing. I don't remember the Final Four the year before, but I do remember losing to Syracuse, and that sucked. But yeah, terrible season. We're all happy to be done with it. I think we're ready to move forward. I think Bill Self is ready to be done with this group. Again, individually speaking, props to each of these guys individually. DeJuan Harris, for whatever you want to say about him, will go down as one of the most important true point guards KU has had. I know that's going to spark a huge debate on point guard, and we got into this on Twitter the other night. I was doing a Spaces with Jayhawk Focus, and we were talking about where does DeJuan rank as a KU point guard, and there was the argument of there's KU guards and there's KU point guards, and it's hard to say where you put DeJuan because the last true point guard that we've probably had that played like that was Aaron Miles, and that's been about 20 years of Troy and Russell Robinson. Russell Robinson was the other guy we talked about. So again, still DeJuan Harris finishes his career with disappointment, but still leaves Kansas as a national champion. Top 5 in assists, top 5 in steals, top 3 in games played, minutes played, all that. Bill Self, said at post game that, whatever you want to say about him, he's been like a son to him. He's been a lot around him every day for the last 6 years. So I think Bill echoed it very well. Individually, he loves these guys so much. Disappointed that they're going to move on the way they did. But I think collectively, all of Jayhawk Nation, including Bill Self, is just ready to be done with this team and with this group and move forward, especially the Hunter Dickinson era. Again, I just got to say this one more time. Individually, not a bad player whatsoever. Has one of the best statistical seasons in KU basketball history. Back-to-back seasons of 17 and 10. Fantastic. But the guy does not know how to win. He is a bona fide stat-stuffing loser. I've said it for weeks now, and I'm going to keep saying it. One of the biggest losers in Kansas basketball history because of what he couldn't do for the team as a whole. His success did not amount to anything as a team success, and he's never won in college. He had one decent season at Michigan his freshman year and then has basically been bad every year since. So I am thrilled that is done. Ready to move forward. Apache Kings got in here, and yes, we're going to talk about it for sure. Got to emphasize international recruiting like Baylor, Gonzaga. Apache's throwing out here Aaron Miles, Jock Vaughn, Frank Mason. Yeah, Frank Mason, I don't put in the same category as DeJuan Harris because he's a scoring threat as a guard. But DeJuan Harris, Aaron Miles, and Russell Robinson, to me, are the 3 true point guards we've had in the Bill Self era that were non-scoring threats. Doesn't mean they couldn't score, but you were not looking to them to be a scoring threat as a point guard. But any other thoughts on this team before we turn the page to the excitement of what is coming down the road? Anybody, you guys?
I just have to say this. It's amazing how much the script has flipped on the whole AJ Store situation. Literally leading up to this, basically the one game that I guess it all changed, somewhat changed when he had his best game. Well, that was in the Big 12 tournament when he went off for like 18 points against, who was it? UCF, that's right. So and then like,
nothing the next game.
Nothing the next game. But then he starts off the tournament doing pretty well, and like in the game against Arkansas, and it's like, dude, like now everyone's like, oh, I would love to keep AJ Store, and I see the argument for it. I really do. For me, I'm like, man, we've talked on this team so poorly and rightfully so. But we've talked so poorly. It's so weird that we're even like, oh, I hope we keep AJ Store, or oh, I hope we keep Rylan Griffin. Oh, I hope. It's like, dude, are we looking at the same team? Are we really looking at the same team? I don't want any of them back. I don't want like.
Well, hold some of those thoughts because we're going to get into that here in a little bit.
hold
We're going to
that.
talk about what this roster is going to look like. So
I will say yes. I'm very, very glad this season is finally over. I hate that we lost the way we did. I will add that while I hate Coach Cal, the fact that he was able to go on and beat St. John's adds a little bit of validity to that loss and helps our case. And just, it's not like they went on and got blown out by St. John's. So, that would have just made us look even worse. Probably would have left a more sour taste in my mouth. But the fact that they went on, dug in, and won that game, it makes me feel a little bit better. I'm not going to root for them the rest of the tournament. Bracket-wise, I think it does wonders for me if Texas Tech wins that game.
I'm all in Texas Tech. And what about you?
Let's go Tech, right, Austin? Let's go Tech. What do you
Tech
think?
for Austin.
Hey, they need revenge for 2021 because when they had the tournament during COVID, Tech lost to Arkansas in the round of 32. So, and you know what? Just like KU football and basketball 2 years ago, lose to Arkansas in the bowl game, lose to Arkansas in the round of 32. So Tech lost to Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl. Now they play Arkansas coming up tomorrow. I think they can't do what KU did, so they need revenge for 2021 and avoid that. So we'll see.
I'm turning into a Tech fan.
I think
I
everybody
like the
should
Fighting Grant McCaslins. They've been fun to watch all season. JT Toppin, Big 12 Player of the Year. Fantastic. I like it. But Spencer, I know you haven't had any takes in a couple weeks because we haven't had you here. So this is your platform. You got anything you want to say about this team before we shut the door on them forever?
I'm honestly afraid to say anything. If I say anything negative, I don't want to pass KU player, quoting the tweet on there. I've seen a lot of defense.
Hey,
clip it.
If this gets clipped for a KU player later, we made it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'll take
it.
If this gets clipped, they're going to see you ragging on Hunter, and it's going to kill our.
I'm just saying what all the
popularity.
guys in the locker room feel. They just don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean Hunter's a bad person at all. He's not a winner.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, good old Bob. He asked, how do we actually feel about Hunter? For me, like looking back, I do think you hit it on the head. He's a stat stuffing, for the most part, loser. Not the fact that he's a loser.
KU's worst winning percentage of the Bill Self era comes in the last 2 seasons of Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah, and then you throw out the stat about how poorly we've done in the tournament and Big 12 standings since he has signed with Kansas, and it's a little bit hard to ignore. And you're kind of like, wow, is this what it's like to have a stat stuffer? And it certainly makes you think. For me, I just hope that we can bounce back. I think we will if Flory comes back. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I will say, let me just end this on Hunter here. I do think he has flaws in his game defensively. He's kind of slow. His basketball IQ, not great. I do think the last 2 years were probably the worst structured rosters for a player like him in existence. I would have loved to see him with a scoring point guard with 3-point shooting threats. I would have really liked to see that, and we never will.
Swap him out with Landon Lucas on the 2018 team?
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy that's a scoring threat, but man, I definitely all the criticism that's coming his way is warranted, but man, I just wish we got to see him in a different style.
I think it's the same thing like with Dedrick Lawson. Dedrick had a tremendous season, but it's unfortunate that it happens with one of the 3 worst rosters of the Bill Self era, unfortunately. Now, maybe that season's completely different if Doak doesn't get hurt and he's not your starting 5 all season. But, yeah, it's frustrating because, you don't want to put all the blame on Hunter, but he is going to be forever linked to the 2 worst year stretch of Kansas basketball in recent history, the 2 years he was here. Again, other guys are going to get a lot of that heat too, but to me, Hunter was the epitome of it because he was the entire focal point. So let's move forward on to bigger, better things for Kansas basketball, positive things. And I met one of our listeners earlier today. So shout out Caleb Wick. Caleb, if you're watching, thank you. Nice to meet you earlier. We had some good discussion on some of the stuff we were going to get into tonight. And it's exactly what this whole title was. This entire episode is All Eyes on Darryn Peterson. So I thought it would be great to get a little palate cleanser, rid our taste buds of this 2024 season, and maybe get a little bit of taste of what's to come next year. Quick 30-second highlight there of Darryn Peterson. Shout out Jayhawk Focus for sending that video over to me. Credit to Tanas Prods there over on YouTube. Had to change the music to make it YouTube okay for our episode. So that changed the music there. But yeah, shout out Jayhawk Focus for sending that to me. Kansas basketball fans, you three fellas here. It's
Rejoice.
DP time. It is DP season. DP all the way. You're going to hear this so many times. I can't wait for the camping groups we get next year. DP, it's gonna go all over the place. But Darryn Peterson is coming to Kansas, and Bill Self now has the opportunity to clean slate, start over, surrounding talent around Darryn Peterson. So let's get into it. Obviously, we know the excitement of what he's going to be. He's probably the best recruit Bill Self will ever bring to Kansas to this point in his career, and yes, that is rivaling Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins at the time was the best. I'm tired of getting just a tail. I want the whole load. Yeah, give me a full DP load. I'm right there with you, Jayhawk Edits for sure.
Let's
can't wait for
go.
Jayhawk Edits is working on some DP content, so can't wait to see his DP later too. Anyway, Darryn Peterson's going to be fantastic. A multi-level, all three-level scoring guard who needs the ball in his hands. Can facilitate the offense, can run the offense, can score the offense. It's going to be super exciting. We've said it several times this season. Bill Self is best when he's got a scoring threat as the primary ball handler. So now the whole conversation is, who does Bill Self go after? The transfer portal? What does he need to do to build around Darryn Peterson and this group moving forward? So that's what we want to get into. I want to start with what we think is going to happen over the offseason so far. Guys that I anticipate being back, unless NIL just goes crazy or they want something else. Marco Jackson, I think for all intents and purposes, is going to be back. I don't see a reason why he goes elsewhere. So I think he's back. Jamari McDowell, I anticipate being back unless he wants a better role somewhere else. Freshman Rakees Passmore, I anticipate him being back. Again, you guys have heard I'm very high on him. I like him. I think he's a potential Ochai Agbaji type guy. We all believe Flory is back. You know, there are rumors out there that Auburn has thrown the money bags at him, but I think Kansas can match whatever the case is. He could also still go test the draft waters if people get in his ear there. Those are the four guys I expect to be back. Diggy Coit being a question mark. I think he wants to be back, and I am all for Diggy Coit being back. But if he wants to go play elsewhere to get more minutes, or Bill Self says, hey, I can't guarantee you much more than a role player spot, maybe he goes somewhere for his final year. Incoming guys, of course, Darryn Peterson. Samis Calderon, a 6'8" forward wing, could play the 3, could play the 4, incoming freshman. I like his frame. I don't know what he's going to be as a freshman, but I'm excited for that. And then two-way player Jaden Nickens, who's football, basketball, probably going to walk on for basketball. Probably won't play, but he'll be here. And of course, Bryson Tiller, who they added at mid-semester this year, had ankle surgery, so he hasn't really practiced at all. Has done nothing, but is going to be here all summer. Another 6'10" big man that could play the 4 and the 5. So that's what we probably anticipate coming back. Yeah, most anticipated since Andrew Wiggins and Josh Jackson, 100%. I think Darryn Peterson literally is exactly what Bill Self wants in a guard. I think you take all the best attributes of Frank Mason, Devontae Graham, Devon Dotson, squeeze them all into Darryn Peterson, and that is what he could be. So I'm excited.
He's Ben McLemore 2.0. He's Ben McLemore 2.0. That's what I'm saying.
Could be.
He's
With a little
going
bit
to be
more
insane.
ball handling and distribution. So here's what I want to do. We're obviously going to talk some transfer portal targets. We'll talk about guys on the roster, who they could bring in, who he should go after. Let's start with the returning guys and the guys that could be potentially back. Of course, we got to talk a little bit about guys like AJ Storr, Rylan Griffin, even Zach Clements. So I'm going to kick it over to you guys. I was posed this question from a buddy, texted this to me, and I thought, hey, why not? We'll talk about it on the podcast tonight, and those in the chat would love your answer too. If you had to bring one of these two guys back for another season, have to pick one, with this group that's coming in, would you take AJ Storr or Rylan Griffin? I have my thoughts, but go ahead. No, I'm gonna give you an argument here in a second, but would love to open this up first.
Is 100% not a question that I love, because I'll respect that you said I have to pick one. Which, by the way, anytime someone asks, what do you prefer, the cold or the hot weather, and you say just, oh, I like it warm, like, somewhere in between. Screw you, you're a terrible person. Same deal. Like, I wish I could be that person and be like, I want neither, because I don't. But like, if I have to pick, it's probably AJ Storr. I kind of ragged on him just earlier in this live, saying like, why has the script flipped so quickly on him? But you know what? I will take it if he's going to play better after finally having his moment to shine. I mean, thank you, Jayhawk Edits. You're a real one. If he's finally getting his moment to shine and he's taking advantage of it, then I will take it. I understand the perspective of wanting shooting for AJ Griffin, or AJ Griffin, Rylan Griffin. Merge them together. With Rylan Griffin, it's like instantly, your head kind of goes to, oh, I want the shooting. Have you guys been watching these games the past, like, so many? What is he, like, 5 for his last 50 attempts?
It's
like,
bad.
What?
It's like 4 for his last 34 or something. I'm sure if Sully's watching, he'll probably pop it in here in the comment section any second, because he has these stats everywhere. But yeah, it was bad.
He has been just like, I was about to make a plane crash joke, but we've had a lot of plane crashes and stuff lately in the news. Never mind. But I'm just saying, he has been going so downhill, just not in a good way. And I'm just, it sucks, dude, because I was so hyped when he came in. I was like, dude, this dude next to Zeke Mayo, we're going to be unstoppable. And this whole season was like, it was just Mayo who could shoot. We need somebody that can replace Mayo. It's not going to be Griffin stepping up in his place. I just want him gone. I think we need to find a Zeke Mayo scoring replacement. I mean, of course, Darryn Peterson is going to be a big part of that. But I would, if I had to take someone, I'm taking AJ Storr, because whether he comes off the bench or whether he starts, he's going to find his rhythm, I would hope, in year 2, especially under Bill Self.
Austin Spencer, any opposing take to that or further argument for AJ?
Oh man,
tough question.
Yeah, I guess I'll play devil's advocate, I guess. So for me, I look at a guy like Rylan Griffin, and funny enough, I know we were talking about throughout the season of like, oh, Self needs to make lineup changes, but we're always referring to more of the front court, right? We were hoping to play, big guys or go small or whatever. But a lot of the roster turnover and the different starting lineups for the wings were, going from Rylan to Shaquille Moore to, so I feel like, to me, as a guy that's primarily a shooter, shooting's a lot about rhythm. And when you're just constantly not knowing what your role is, and when the roster's constantly being changed, that is going to affect your shooting. I also think he's slightly better defensively. I think Storr's limitations go far beyond poor shooting. I don't think he exactly is a high motor player that we saw. I thought he had some really bad IQ moments throughout the season. Now, that being said, I wouldn't mind if he came back. I think AJ Storr is incredibly talented, and I think he's got a really high ceiling. But I'm looking at this roster and I'm thinking, okay, if we actually have a little bit of consistency, I think a guy like Rylan Griffin to me is a slightly more safe option. I think he's got a higher chance of being a consistent, dependable guy that can be on the floor in important stretches. Whereas Store to me is a little bit more risk, and maybe you have a little bit more reward. But to me, we took a lot of risks the last couple of years, and none of them really paid off. So that's why I'm leaning a little bit more towards Griffin. But I would be fine with either one. I really do think they're both talented. Yeah.
Boston?
Tiebreaker.
I mean, I know it's putting a lot of pressure on me.
I still have to give you my argument too.
You want to say your argument first?
No, go ahead. No, I'll save it for last.
Okay. So we're gonna do that after. Got it. AJ Store played really well to end the season, but we really didn't see much of him throughout the season. Saw a lot more from Rylan, of course, but man, I don't really know. We've been talking about Rylan's inconsistencies along with AJ's. But I just think somebody said in the comments section, KU needs perimeter shooting, and I think Rylan is the better option for that. There you go, right there. I agree with that. Patchy King, shout out to you. I have to go with Rylan, honestly. Obviously hasn't been consistent. Obviously, he hadn't been consistent all season long, but I just think in terms of having the perimeter shooting that Kansas desperately needs. I think he'd be better fit for that. And
you want him
I
5
sure
for
hope
50,
he comes
dude?
back. What?
You want someone 5 for 50?
No, I don't want anybody 5 for 50. But I don't know. It's I just know that Rylan's better than what we've seen from him at times. And we saw that with him at Alabama. It just comes down to the structure of the team and the lineup and all that. So if we have a better structure in the lineup and in the roster, I think Rylan could have a better season next year if he decides to come back. So I'd give it to Rylan right now.
Have to shoot 1,000 threes every day.
Wait, hold on. Real quick, one last thing to counter JB's point here.
Oh, no.
Darryn Peterson is a ball-dominant player. AJ Store is a ball-dominant player. He's not going to play off-ball very well. I think he also has a roster fit. And to me, with a guy like Darryn Peterson, you got a guy that can get to the rim really easily. You surround him with shooters, right? Because otherwise, we're going to see what happens. Instead of the post guy getting jammed in the paint, you're going to have a guy drive, and defenses are going to have no problem collapsing in because they'll leave Store who shot 29% or whatever all day long. So that would be my last opposition there.
I think that's very fair. No, I hear that. I fully hear that. This is why I say I just want them both gone. Okay.
And I think that's where it's going to go with this. But hear me out for a second. Let me help you guys kind of imagine a scenario, if you will.
Oh boy.
Kansas basketball. They've got a 6'9", 6'10", rim-running, athletic big man named Flory Badunga who likes to run up and down the court, set screens, throw down lobs. And this has opened up some spacing. You've got a ball-dominant guard who can attack, who can shoot, who can distribute. Doesn't have an incapable shooting four-man in front of him, hogging up the space. Doesn't have an incapable point guard around him that can't score. So Darryn Peterson has the space to work with. Flory's running up and down the floor. I can totally see it. Again, this is a big if. If AJ Store can figure out how to play team-friendly basketball, I can see a scenario where both these guys, AJ Store and Rylan Griffin, thrive in a completely new look KU offense that is about speed, attacking the paint, getting shooters open. You're telling me that if AJ Store could figure out how to play a little bit of the four-man, even if his defense isn't great, play a little bit of the four-man with his athleticism, you pair him with another wing like Rylan Griffin, if he can also take the next step defensively, and those two guys can interchange, you've got Flory being a true shot blocker in the middle, you get Darryn Peterson out there, and then whatever other wing you want to throw out there. In this scenario, let's just say it's Raquise Passmore or Elmarco Jackson. You've got speed, you've got athleticism, and you've got space. Flory can step out and hit a little 15-footer if need be, but he's not clogging a lot of space. AJ can shoot, he can score, he can attack, he can slash, which is his best skill set, in my opinion, slashing. Rylan can move in the offense, and like Spencer's point earlier, just needs a little bit of offensive rhythm. There is no offensive rhythm when your offense is dump it down to Hunter Dickinson and hope for the best, or let KJ go pick and pop. There's just no rhythm. There's no movement. How many times did Rylan just float to the corner? Nothing happened. So I think there is a way this could happen where those guys would thrive. And Sully is already jumping onto what I want to go to next year. But to JB's point, maybe the answer is both of them are gone. But I do think there is something to say about Bill Self returning players that have a full year in the system and can develop and build chemistry. So maybe there's a world where these two both come back and they look better. I think from a fan base perspective, we're ready to move on and get into the portal. So let's talk a little bit about the portal. What type of guys you want Bill Self to go after? We'll go through some of the obvious names. I've got 24/7 Sports pulled up, so we'll run through some of those. Sully already started here with just want Dix. I would love Dix and DP. DP and Dix would be a great combination.
Oh my God.
Haven't seen that go wrong in the past ever before, so I think that would be a great combination there. But kidding aside, Josh Dix would be elite. He is an elite 6'6" wing that can score at all three levels, can get his shot off, can attack, and can shoot lights out from three. So definitely upgrade over Rylan Griffin for sure. So let's get into the portal talk there. I've got a list of guys that I think Katie's going after, but I want to start with you, Spencer, on your Bill Self. You're the GM of this team, and tomorrow you get to decide how you want to build this roster, assuming that Flory and Darryn Peterson are the two staples of your lineup.
Sure.
What are you looking for in the portal / recruiting side to build around these two?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a good old fashioned stretch four, man. I mean, coming from KJ again, love KJ, wish him a speedy recovery, but he had a lot of limitations offensively, and we saw what those limitations at the four position could do. So to me, I would love a guy that could, we could do a pick and pop with a guy that can, if he needs to, he can back out to the corner and give some space. So I think a stretch forward would be good. I think getting some big body defenders too. Again, we saw a lot of, on paper, this team looked fantastic defensively, and for whatever reason, just didn't materialize. So I'd love a good perimeter defender here because you look at a guy like DeJuan, one of his biggest strengths was he was a very good on-ball defender, very pesky on-ball defender. So, and then definitely another offensive guy, either to be a spark off the bench. We don't want to go off stretches where the starting lineup plays well, and the moment we go to the bench, they go on an 8-0 run, and then all of a sudden we're behind in the game. So, maybe a scoring option off the bench or another guy that can be kind of the complement to Peterson. But those are the guys that I would try to go after first. But I would especially like a stretch four. I feel like we get torched by stretch fours every time we play against them, by the way. And they're tall, they're white, and they're European. If we can get one of those guys, let's bring him in and let's have him hit 5 threes in the tournament for us, please. So, yeah.
100%.
Who was it that it was way back up in the comment section that said that we need to go after foreign guys? Who was that?
Yeah, Apache King put in here.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Need to recruit the international guys.
Yeah,
bring another. We've done it once with Svi, and it turned out well after 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this day and age of college basketball, the NIL era, Bill Self said it earlier during the season. Somebody, I think it was on Hawk Talk, asked him about how do you change up how you recruit now with the way the NIL era is and the transfer portal and guys being eligible right away. And he said, well, it's different. He didn't want to say if it was harder or more challenging or anything. He said it's different because you're used to building a program with freshmen, piecing in a few guys around them and watching them develop over 2 or 3 years. And he said, gone are the days of KJ Adams and DeJuan Harris's where they're here for 4 years developing. He goes, you would like that as a coach, but it's going to be much harder. So he said something
what
like,
development do they have?
Yeah, well, that's a different conversation. I think that's on the assistant coaches. But he said, now it's all about you're building. He's like, all I can do is think about building a roster for this season or for the season in front of him. He's like, I can't think about who I'm recruiting 2-3 years down the line outside of the typical high school kids you're going after. So you got to go all in every single season to win. And yes, is Tiller a stretch for? I think Bryson Tiller could be. I think he's more likely to be a backup 5 development role. But if him and Flory look good together, I think I can guarantee you Bill Self's going to try it. he would love to go back to two big basketball,
Oh, yeah.
especially with them being both athletic guys. If they can switch on the 4 and 5 spot and get a little bit of spacing, I think you're definitely going to do that. Oh, thank you. How on earth did I forget to mention Johnny Furphy? Literally a season ago, the other international guy. Wow, that's embarrassing on my part. Johnny Furphy and Svi Mikhailuk, the two guys, and hey, both of them worked out pretty well. Would have loved to see Furphy for another season, of course, but both of those worked out well.
God.
Why not go back to it? Stretch 4, I'm all with it. Austin, let me kick it over to you. What is one or two things that you are desperately searching for in the portal and a type of player you want to see on this roster next year?
Well, can we get somebody that can rebound defensively, please, or offense, or both sides, really? Because we've struggled with that all season long. So as long as we have somebody that can freaking rebound, then I'd be happy. But I mean, we obviously need a guy that can get it done outside the perimeter. One name comes to mind. Obviously, we've been thinking about this guy for like the past 24 hours, Donovan Dent. I don't think he'll end up being a Jayhawk. He's obviously he's an ideal player that Kansas could have. I just don't know how he's going to fit into the roster. I mean, into the lineup rather, especially with who we're looking at too. I know we're looking at a couple of guys right now, and there might be some visits happening pretty soon. Dix, the guy from Iowa, that's obviously a name that we're going to have to look out for. Mm-hmm. I think he ends up being a Jayhawk. I mean, if you add him into the mix, like I don't know where Donovan Dent's place is really. I really don't. I mean, I'm not saying Dent's.
Hold up. Well, hold on. Isn't he a point guard?
Dix?
Yeah. I'm talking about
Dent. Donovan Dent's another combo guard. He can play off ball, but he can play with DP.
Yeah.
For anybody watching right now that has been fed up over the last 3+ years of our offense being run
great stuff, Sully.
by Sully, love you every time. And for anyone that's been fed up over the last 3.5 years by just watching DeJuan Harris play basketball, come on, this guy is like the opposite of and on the right end of the spectrum, he's the opposite of DeJuan Harris. He is the scoring point guard. He's the Frank Mason dog mentality type of player that we've been wanting. Like, Keegan posed this question. He was the first name that popped in my head. I'm like, Donovan freaking Dent, dude. I don't know if we'll never get him.
Fortune.
I don't care. We paid HA Stork like $2 million or whatever we did. I think we could cough up some change, huh? Come on.
Yeah. I like the Donovan Dent one. I mean, that type of guy gives you some Devontae Graham, Malik Newman vibes where you got two guys that can play the combo guard role, can score and attack. There's a lot of names out there, and I'm going to throw some at you. But really what I'm looking for, and this is kind of following – I don't know if this is real as of right now. I'm not 100% sure on that. So Jayhawk Edits, if it is great, maybe somebody can look that up while we're doing this. But I haven't seen anything by the time we started this episode. I hadn't seen that was official yet. But I would not be shocked if that's the case because he wants to follow his coach. But what I'm looking for, and kind of echoing what Austin said, with a guy that's going to crash the boards. And really what I'm looking for is I want a freaking dog again. I want Bill Self to go after a guy that is willing to put his body on the line, both sides of the ball, a Kevin McCullough type who's going to play tough. He's going to grit it out. He's going to play really hard, and he's going to make an impact in that way. This team had no fight, zero fight. Rylan Griffin, a soft wind could blow him over. Hunter Dickinson showed fight when he wanted to, but it was very rare if he wanted to. KJ and Flory had some fight, but that's not enough, and they're coming from two guys that can't impact the game in that many other ways offensively. DeJuan did not show that much of a fight. He's not, obviously doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeves, not the vocal leader. Zeke, I love Zeke, love his scoring ability, but he was pretty weak this year at times, got easily pushed around by bigger, more athletic guards and struggled offensively from that standpoint. I think he had a dogfight mentality in him because I think we definitely saw late in the season. He was one of the few guys that was really busting it out there. But that's what I want to see. I want to see Bill Self go after guys that are going to play really hard. Like the play hard meter knocking that off the chart. I can get by with them being a little bit of a struggle offensively if it means they're going to scrap and fight tooth and nail to win games. Because I watched a lot of college basketball this year, and again, a team like Texas Tech, doesn't matter how talented Texas Tech is, they play really, really hard. Iowa State, they play really, really hard. There were a lot of teams you watched this year that collectively maybe didn't even have the same talent level that Kansas had, but because they played really hard, they won games. Look at the Utah team. Utah was a terrible team. For whatever reason, they played really freaking hard against Kansas, and it made a difference. BYU plays really, really stinking hard. And I was talking with a friend about the Big 12 next year, and the Big 12 is going to be even tougher to win now. And I think, it's going to be more challenging because the Big 12 has traditionally been the best basketball conference, and you can't say that this year. The SEC was for sure. I think you could say the SEC. So I think the Big 12 is going to be hungry and motivated next year to do that. And you've got a lot of teams in this league that are really freaking scrappy. And yes, Apache King, you said there. Yes, you could never close out a game because there's no toughness, there's no fight, there's no willpower on this team, and there's no go-to player. Now, obviously, you'd like to think Darryn Peterson solves a lot of the go-to player late, the guy that can get a bucket when the offense falls apart. But you got to surround him with guys that are going to fight really hard and are going to be true dogs. So to me, that's my number one thing I'm looking for. I don't care as much about skill set if you play really hard, because I think Bill Self is a good enough coach to figure that part out. But yeah, obviously, you got to surround Darryn Peterson with some good talent. So let's look at the portal here. I'm going to try and share this screen here. Transfer portal. These are some of the top targets in the transfer portal. Bennett Sturts obviously is going to go to Iowa, no question about that. Donovan Dent, as of right now, has not committed, but yes, Jayhawk Edit said that's his opinion. Dayton Thomas from UNLV, another guy that I think would be an interesting combo guard to put alongside him. Both those guys are in the portal because their coaches are moving. Josh Dix, number 4. To me, Josh Dix is my favorite addition in the portal. Bryce Hoppings, I think, would be very fun. 6'7", 220, big-bodied guy, athletic, could play strong, play tough. I liked Malik Renault at Indiana this last year. Again, athletic big man. I like a different Indiana player, too, that we almost got last year, but Mackenzie Mbako didn't get him. One I'm growing on, and Derek Johnson talked about it in Locked on Jayhawks, but Magoon Gwath, 7-foot, super athletic shot blocking threat that I think would be a fun pairing with Flory down low. Jaleel Bethea is another guy that KU was in on in his recruiting, athletic guard. Struggled this year, but could be interesting. This one, Trayson Eaglestaff, I've seen a lot of tape on him today. My gosh, 6'6", 190. He can shoot, he can score, he can go over top of guys, he can step back. I think he'd be great. But a lot of guys in the portal here. Again, if you want to go off of a name, and Elliot Cadeau out of North Carolina, you've got a lot of options here. I liked Langston Love coming out of Baylor as a freshman recruit. I liked him a lot. Could be looking for something different, but these are some of the names. Christopher Tilley, another big man coming out of Santa Clara, 7', 240. I don't know how high KU is going to be on him, because I do think they want Flory to be the starting 5-man, and I don't see Tilley wanting to. I mean, I don't think Tilley's necessarily better than Flory, but I don't see Tilley being comfortable with a bench role necessarily. But those are a lot of the guys. Elijah Freeman's another one. Comes from a smaller university, but he's got good size at 6'8". You need guys that are the big, strong, durable wings that can switch. They can go both sides of the ball. They can switch 1 through 4, play the 5 in a pinch because of their athleticism. Those are the types of guys I'm looking at. But yeah, Mbako almost came here before. Again, I like him. I think he'd be interesting. Peterson will carry the load like Danny Manning. Yep, I think he's going to look like that. We need someone who can put the team on their back when they need to, and I think that's Darryn Peterson. But those are some of the guys in the portal. We're obviously going to see a lot more come about. But yeah, as we kind of build this roster here, what do you guys like? Build for me or project out to me what starting 5 you think we will see from not necessarily a player standpoint, but from a player personnel standpoint. Darryn Peterson, is he the 1? Is he the 2? Flory's at the 5. How do you see this starting 5 rotation kind of look in a future Kansas team next year? Because right now, to me, if you don't add portal and we just look at the team, I think unless we get a solid 1 or 2 guard, it's pretty likely that El Marco is starting in the backcourt alongside Darryn Peterson, which I'm okay with. I think the
Are
athleticism there is
you?
fantastic. I am. I think he's slept on. I think he's going to be hungry. I don't know if he can
So
shoot, but
let's
I
talk
think the
about that
athleticism
because
is going to be great.
I don't see it. I don't. Maybe I'm forgetting something.
I mean,
Like
he didn't
some,
have a great freshman season, but again, the same problems this team had this year, they had last year.
it's like for me. I was talking about this with one of my buddies from work. Luke was talking to me about it, and he was telling me like, oh, Al Marco Jackson had a great finish to his season his freshman year. I just don't remember it. Like, am I dumb? Like, do you guys back me up if you don't remember it either? But I just it was a freshman season. You couldn't really expect a whole lot, but he had a somewhat lackluster freshman season when you consider how highly ranked he was as a recruit coming in, and then he gets injured and he's been sitting for a whole year. It's hard for me to feel excited about a guy that's been sitting for a whole year. Like,
But do you think he
man,
looked bad, though, because he was playing alongside DeJuan? Again, nothing against DeJuan. Again, I'm not trying to attack him there, but
I still say yes because I
the fit
feel
was
like
bad.
because I was at the time I was trying to look at this as a situation of, oh, this is Dewan and El Marco next to each other. When they were next to each other on the court, I was like, there's no reason why this can't be at least somewhat close to some of the better point guard combos that we've had in the past. I mean, when especially with him being off the ball most of the time when they were sharing the court, it was like, dude, just use this opportunity to show off your scoring prowess. Use this opportunity to show your shooting ability. And he had shown flashes, yeah, but it's like it just wasn't all together. And when you have an injury like that, you sit out for a whole year. It's not like you can be in the gym practicing. Now, I don't know to the full extent. I know he's getting really close to like full contact, like 100% back. But if you think about it, just saying that out loud, it's like, dude, he has sat all year. How I'm not. I will concede that I am not an athlete. I am not. I've never been on a team with an injury and having to pump iron because I can't walk with just work on my upper body. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, what can he really work on? How can he improve with an injury? I just feel like he's going to be set back, right? Like, so it's hard for me to be excited about El Marco.
Oh, this is gonna be great. If Josh Dix ends up coming to Kansas, this is gonna be so much fun. So much. You can already see the camping groups. Yeah, can he go 40 minutes? I bet he can.
I would hope so.
Yeah, and here Apache King brings up. I thought this was a great take. I was talking with, I think this was on Twitter a couple weeks ago with Jayhawk Focus again. We were going through some stuff on Twitter, and I had laid out there for everybody. I was like, hey, let me give you some stats on a former KU guard and tell me if this was El Marco's stat line, would you be okay with it? And it was sophomore season Tyshawn Taylor. Started most of the season, averaged about 6 points a game, about 3 assists a game, something like that off the top of my head. I go back and look it up. But wasn't a huge impact. Had several games that made a difference. Now, he was playing in a different kind of backcourt there back then. Hadn't really taken the reins yet as the dominant guard of the team. But I think something like that would be great. JB Murray at the 3. I'm all for it. I'd pay to see that.
I'm shooting.
But I think if El Marco can come in and play 20, 25 minutes a night, if there's not another guard that they bring in, then I think El Marco actually is potential for a good season, because again, the way you can play with a guy like Darryn Peterson, this team, I have to believe this team's going to play up tempo and play a little quicker. And the athleticism, I mean, Bill Self's been saying it for 5 years. We got to get more athletic. We struggle against guys with length and speed. We saw it again this year, and they didn't get any faster in the offseason. He said that too about the team right before they went and won a national championship, but those guys developed in the offseason and got better. But yeah, Tyshawn, absolute dog, 100% dog. That's what we need. And I think El Marco has the energy to be that. But yes, JB, I'm with you in the sense of he hasn't played in a whole year, so you don't know what you're going to get with him. But he could be solid, and if he sticks around and develops, I think the athleticism there could be a big factor because he actually looked pretty decent. He got better defensively throughout his freshman season. He was not great early on, but then he became a really good team defender, backside helper, and I think that speed alongside Darryn Peterson could be quite interesting to check out. Yeah.
Here's my biggest fear though, is that he turns into the next Bill Self's son. The next guy that Bill Self relies on. Spencer, what do you think? Because
quick shout out. We're pushing 150 people in this right now between Twitter and YouTube. So shout out to all of you guys. A lot of this coming off of X right now, but thank you for everyone that's joined us so far.
That's right. Spencer, what do you think about Marco being you tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like he's going to be the starting point guard, like no matter who comes in, just simply because he's been in the program for 2 years, albeit he sat all last year, but like he's going to be the guy because Bill Self likes to start his upperclassmen when they're remotely close to being starter caliber. And I'm not saying like that's necessarily El Marco. I think he's starter caliber if he's fully healthy and if he's developing, but now he's set back. But I just think it's written in stone that he's going to be the starter. Like, am I wrong?
I think Bill, there's two things. His loyalty. I don't know if you want to call it a problem, but his tendency for loyalty. I don't think it's only with upperclassmen. It's got to be the style of player that he likes, and So Marco had some issues his freshman year. He played too fast. Tempo was a huge problem with him, and that led to a lot of turnovers. Not a great consistent shot, but he was a very athletic guy. But to me, he's a guy that has a high ceiling, and he is the perfect candidate to be molded and grown and to become a really good player. So I don't know if I necessarily would want him in the starting lineup, not because of anything ability wise, but coming off a major injury and not playing, in as long as he has, that is really hard to just jump right back in, especially as a guy who uses his athleticism a lot. So I would maybe prefer him to start on the bench, get him in rhythm, and if he's playing well mid-season, throw him in the starting lineup. Let's see what he can do. So I'd probably want to test him a little bit, see how he's looking. But Keegan, I agree. I think he's a little slept on, and I think he is the exact kind of guy that none of his problems to me are unfixable. There's nothing to me that is like, oh, this isn't ever going to get better. It's all stuff that'll grow with experience. So I'm excited to see what he does.
I think one thing that's forgotten about El Marco, for those that maybe don't quite know his full story, he really didn't start playing basketball till high school. Like, freak athlete that discovered the game of basketball later in his recruitment, flew up recruiting boards because of his raw athleticism, and his senior year he just went freaking crazy attacking the paint. But Jayhawk had said it. He is not a great shooter, and he's turnover prone because he plays so fast. Once you're playing like that, plus you have DeJuan next to you who slows the game down so much, I think it was a quick change that he wasn't necessarily prepared for. But again, he was really the only other ball dominant guard on that team, so he was gonna play. So I think it's going to fit a lot better because, again, I think this team's going to play more up-tempo and spacing is going to be better. And you would like to think that El Marco has developed a higher basketball IQ in that time as well because, again, he's still very new to the game. But hey, I can just see El Marco and Flory running the fast break. And, Flory gets a block, and because of how how quick he is, Flory's running down, and, Darryn Peterson and El Marco are throwing lobs off the backboard to him. Let's see. Bill likes players who sacrifice their bodies, 100%. That's, again, goes back to what I said earlier, guys that are going to play tough and fight through things. Bill Self, guy right here, 4-year self project, 100%. I don't think he played or Klosh. That was just KJ. That was KJ. Noah Barkley. Noah, shout out you. Thanks for joining as always. Don't want Donovan Dent. Don't know if you've talked about him yet. We did talk a little bit about him, so I'm curious, Noah, why don't you want him? Is it the high usage rate? I mean, he had a pretty good season. Is it the fear of him playing alongside another ball dominant guard? Would love to get your thought there in the comments, or anybody else that maybe isn't as high on Donovan Dent as most of college basketball is.
I just think that'd be a defensive nightmare for teams to see Donovan Dent and Darryn Peterson. Like, how do you come on? I don't know. Like, Austin, if you're an opposing team, what's your, like, who do you focus on first, Dent or Darryn Peterson?
Darryn Peterson, 100%.
Darryn Peterson for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, hey, he's a freshman, but hey, Dent's a 20-point-per-game guy.
I mean, listen, LeBron James's former coach, he spoke about Darryn Peterson, and he said he's the best player since LeBron. So, I mean,
Right.
I would be more focused on not just based on that, but like Darryn Peterson is that guy. I mean, you see it in the highlight reels. I think it'll absolutely translate into the college level. So I think it's Darryn.
I think if Bill Self wants to steer into being a quick pace team, then I think Dent would fit great because New Mexico was the 7th fastest team in the country last year, and he shot 49% from the floor, 41% from three, 78% from the free throw line on a team that played incredibly fast. He also got some decent looks in the paint. He can blow by guys and attack the rim, which is what a lot of people in the comment sections have said is a guy that can attack the paint and can get by a defender. No guard on this team the last 2 years could get by a defender with ease at all. He's made a lot of great strides in his shooting too from the last couple of years. So I like it. He is a little undersized in some of those matchups, but Darryn Peterson's also a little bit bigger guard too, so that kind of offsets. But let's see, I missed while I was looking at that. I say we roll El Marco at the 2, so Darryn Peterson the 1, El Marco at the 2, Rilo at the 3 if he comes back. Again, I am not opposed to Rylan Griffin being back on this team. I think the question is there someone out there that you think is a year 2 in the system, Rylan Griffin, better than transfer portal guy? I don't know. I think a ceiling of a guy like Josh Dix is higher. I think he's more consistent and can fit right in. But I definitely see how Rylan could be a good fit. I want to ask you guys this though about 2 other guys on the roster. Someone give me the reason why sophomore Rakeese Passmore or redshirt sophomore junior season Jamari McDowell could be the answer at the wing.
There is
because
none.
they've been here.
No, there is none.
I know they're I think the ceiling of Jamari is lower, but I think his floor is higher.
I feel
Keith
like
Passmore to me, I mean, his ceiling's super high, and I think he's also getting slept on a lot.
The way that happens, knowing Bill Self and just knowing how we operate as a team, at least over the last so many years, is if this team doesn't change at all. First of all, let me get this out. If this team doesn't change at all, this whole topic got started off, what's going to be the starting 5? The answer is it's going to be El Marco, Darryn Peterson, Rylan, Storr, and Flory. That's what it's going to be if nothing else changes. If Rylan and Storr leave, that is going to be how Rakeese and some of the other guys might, creep in, assuming that we don't get anybody. Then the question is, can we get somebody? I think yes, and I think that Nix, of course, would be Dix, would be great to add in. Honestly, I would love it if we just had one piece. I need
That's the question I keep coming back to is, do you want to bring in 3 or 4 portal guys, or do you want to bring one good portal guy and keep what you have and build some continuity like some of the chat is saying and hope that those guys just take a next step? Like, to me, I'm fine with if we go all in on one big time guard that can complement and then we develop around, and then probably one more big man stretch 4 backup 5 that can play the Mitch Lightfoot type role that can give you consistent effort on the boards, play solid defense, and can play the pick and roll game when you need him to.
I think a good question to ask yourself would be, would you have preferred Furphy come back instead of Rylan or AJ coming in the transfer portal? So to me, if you got – and I'm not – that's just an example. I'm not really talking about, like, specific players, but I don't know. I would like to have I would like to have goodness gracious. I wish Grady stayed 3 years. I'd like to have a guy that we've developed and knows the system, knows the coaching staff, instead of getting these good, because I was watching March Madness with my girlfriend. She don't even really watch basketball, and she was like, we were watching a really good team. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Colorado State, and she was like, man, KU doesn't play like this at all. And I was like, yeah, because we have a new team every year, and they don't play together. That's the thing. You ever go to the rec and you there's 5 guys that play like every single week. They're running pick and rolls. They're running plays on you. They're calling out stuff. And you have never met these 4 other guys, and you guys are just chucking up threes, and you lose by 15. That's what this team feels like. So I'd like to actually get some players to stay and develop instead of going out and grabbing 5 players from, 5
100%.
different states, 5 different playing system styles, all that good stuff. Of course, we're going to find problems with that. So please, somebody at least come back and let's give these younger guys a chance to develop. And I think we'll be honestly in a better spot.
Yeah. So Austin, quick what if for you. If Johnny Furphy decided to come back for year 2, which I think he probably should have, considering that he fell quite a bit in the draft from what he was told he was going to be.
And
Do you think that would have changed anything this season?
No.
Oh, come
No.
on.
Nah. I don't
The
think
team
so.
wasn't good enough. Yeah. Regardless.
The spacing's still a problem.
No.
You do have one more shooter, but his defense was not great as a freshman. You'd think he got
He would have
better there.
improved.
I think had he come back, you don't get Rylan Griffin. I think AJ Storr was coming no matter what. But basically, would you take Johnny Furphy, year 2 Johnny Furphy, over what you thought at the time you were going to get with Rylan Griffin? That's tough because Rylan Griffin coming off a Final Four appearance.
Yeah.
I think in hindsight, it's easy to say because Furphy's play style probably would have played better in this slow it down game off of Hunter, and he could slash a little bit better than Rylan. But I do think about that, and we've talked about before. I think we'll do an episode, maybe next week's episode, doing some KU basketball tournament what ifs, like what if Joel Embiid's back was healthy, and what if Andrew Wiggins decides to show up for the second half, or what if Ali Farouk-Manesh, who's now a head coach at Colorado State, doesn't hit 5,000 freaking threes. So I think that might be interesting to play next week. Like, what if Cliff Alexander was eligible for the postseason? What if Doak never got hurt? What if the 2020 season actually allowed us to play the tournament? So I think that'd be fun. But I don't have that much else I want to add. We've been at this an hour. I don't want to go too much longer. But anybody else have any thoughts you want to add in on off-season talk, what to look forward to? Somebody mentioned it up here. Yeah, Sullivan posted, does Rylan ever regain his confidence? I don't know.
Thank you, yes.
So I guess my question is, if you're Bill Self, what conversation are you having with Rylan Griffin and AJ Storr? Is it hey, this didn't work, we didn't get what we thought, you didn't get what you thought, move on? Or do you think Bill Self's having the conversation of, what if you decided to come back? If you did, and assuming we want you back, here's what needs to change. Are you willing to commit to that?
Yeah.
I genuinely think AJ Storr can fit the mold of somebody that, like, some rock star transfer portal addition that we really wanted to add to this starting roster. But it's like, man, I mean, AJ Storr is going to have to change a lot. And I don't know if he can. Rylan Griffin, if he can get his confidence back, yeah, I can see it. I don't believe it'll happen. If I'm a betting man, I'm betting the under. I just don't think it's going to happen. I hate to say it, and it just hurts me because I mentioned it earlier. But man, I was so hyped for him. Yeah, if he had come in and been the player that we all thought he was going to be, I would have been like, yeah, see you later, Furphy. Glad you came, but now we got Rylan Griffin, and now we just look like idiots because. Yeah, we would have rather had Furphy, I think, over Griffin. Yes, I think we would have won more games. I think it probably would have been a 5 seed, maybe. Like, come on, now we're a 7 seed in the tournament. It just sucks, so embarrassing. But, what I'm so fearful of is...
This is going to get brought up every episode for a while now.
Adam Sullivan. Sully, you devious dog. Bro.
Hey, quick shout out though. Royal Spring Training is come to an end because the season starts tomorrow, and if you haven't yet, please go check out our Kansas City Royals season episode that Chris Tenpenny and I did. Super pumped for the Royals. They have a lot of expectations. Should make the playoffs. Should compete for a division as well as compete for a top 3 seed in the American League. And I think Bobby Witt has an MVP season loading.
We are going to need everybody to step up because we've been clamoring all season, it feels like, for this season to just be over. Now that it's over, it's like, oh shoot, we got to do our homework now. Like we got to actually, like, assignment is due tomorrow, and it's time to just buckle down and get it done. And how does that look? It's development over the off season, and it's going out and getting maybe a transfer portal edition or 2. But it's development, and it's something that absolutely needs to happen because despite how frustrating it was to see the non-development of guys like Dewan and KJ, and then to see Hunter stuff the stat sheet, but still lose us games. It was so frustrating. With them gone, we need people to fill those roles correctly this time. It's scary to think about a guy that's been sitting a year on our bench in McDowell suddenly turning into a stud. Who knows what he's been doing
I don't know
in
if he'll
his
ever be a
redshirt year.
stud, but I bet you he could be a Travis Relaford for sure.
Well, yeah, but it's like, man, I don't trust him in my starting lineup. I don't trust El Marco in my starting lineup. I don't trust anybody in the starting lineup behind Darryn Peterson and Flory. It's like Darryn Peterson and Flory, it's great, but then like fill in with 3 other guys, and all of a sudden it's like, dude, we might need to take some transfer portal guys. And then if we take transfer portal guys to fill out the final 3 spots in the starting roster, we start to have the same problem of guys that have no chemistry, of guys that are just going to ruin this roster another year, and it's going to be like, what seed are we going to get? What 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed, 8 seed are we going to get next year? That's my biggest fear. So how do we fix that? We need people to step it up.
That's why I think Jayhawk Edit's question here is very valid. Does self-improve players in the portal, would he micromanage? I think the answer is yes and no. I mean, I'd agree with Noah that Bill Self's very stubborn. I think Bill Self has the expectation that he can find what he likes and hope that it translates to his system. But I think he also has been a little bit stubborn in trying to force a guy to change the way he plays to adapt to our system. Again, a lot of that I think does disappear the fact that you don't have Hunter, KJ, Dewan sharing the court because you had to force guys to play a specific role. I really do think we're going to see a lot more fluidity to this offense and this roster next year. Get a bunch of athletes that can build some chemistry together, and I think then you can plug in some portal guys. Like you were hoping that Rylan Griffin was going to come in and shoot 45% from 3, go 3 for 5 from 3 every game, be a lockdown defender, and be a quick microwave guy that might get 15 minutes tonight. He might get 25 minutes tonight, but when he's out there, he's got to do that. And it's so hard for a shooter to do that when there's, again, like you said, Spencer, when there's no rhythm, first off, because you're coming in and out of the game, and if there's no rhythm in the flow of the offense. I mean, our guy Derek Ho has said it like 1,000 times this year. How come there wasn't a lot of dribble penetration action or the 3-man weave with the guards? Well, it's because you didn't have guards that could do that. And so I think a lot of this is going to fix itself. The fact that you don't have all these guys playing here. So Peterson and Glory, and I know you meant Flory, should be good for 35 to 40 per game. If they combine for 40 points a game, I'm good with that, which would be cool. But I think he's talking 35 to 40 minutes a game. I don't think Flory's playing more than 28 minutes, 30 minutes next year. Austin, you got a thought?
No, I need to break some news. KU softball just won in Columbia, so shout out to the softball team.
Shout out KU.
3-0 final score. I was keeping up with the
more than just a basketball school apparently now. Everything but basketball.
Everything but
Missouri beat number 1 Oklahoma like not too long ago, like a few days ago, I think. So like for KU to like go on the road and get it done in Columbia. Now their softball page. So apparently all over Columbia, they're crossing out all the K's and the street signs. Like they're trying to be Ohio State and Michigan. Like, calm down. We just beat you guys in softball. So boo-hoo.
Yeah, then KU
Man, if we beat them
baseball
in football this year, I don't mean to go off topic, but I mean, if we go out there and beat them in football, I'm gonna go insane. I really am. But anyways, I just had to break that news.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. I do want to ask a question though. Do y'all think Diggy comes back, or do y'all think he leaves? My gut's telling me that he's gonna, because he wants playing time and he wants to start. I bet, and he's going into his final year of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Something in me
one more year.
I know. Like, I want Diggy to come back. I love him. I think he's a great player. I think he did great things for KU this year. But I've got a bad feeling in my stomach that he's gonna.
I would feel more confident with him starting over El Marco. But do I think Bill Self will do that? I mean, possibly, yeah. I actually do. Now, it's just scary because, I mean, Diggy, yeah, he's not the best.
Wait a second. I false alarm. There was the top of the 7th. Dang it.
Oh,
Okay, well, we got 3 more outs.
No, we're good. We're good.
We got 3 more outs. What? I bet they'll close it. If Missouri comes back and wins this game because I prematurely got excited, I'm gonna. Oh! Okay, sorry.
You jinxed it. Yeah, I'm all for Diggy
Back
coming
to
back
Diggy
because
Coit.
again, he's
He's
a small dog, but he's a dog. And he's got some fight. I don't know what his role would be depending on how this roster shakes up. So I kind of wonder if the Diggy conversation, maybe Bill Self goes, hey, if you want a bigger role, I encourage you to go look for it. But if you want to wait a little while, let's see who we find. And if we don't get everything we want, then there's a good spot for him. So
he's like an insurance policy.
Yeah, which you can't really do in the portal because the longer Diggy waits, the more opportunities he's going to lose elsewhere. But I think he could still be a nice bench scoring guard. I think it just depends on what does he want. Does he want to go be the guy again and score close to 20, shooting 15 shots a night, or does he want to be a potential X factor, adrenaline rush for this team coming off the bench? I don't think he would start most of the year. He's a little small for what Bill Self likes, but again, Darryn Peterson's a bigger 2 guard, so maybe that helps. But I think there's a place here for him. I would want one more solid guard because again, if El Marco is your other point guard, that's not a lot of shooting out of El Marco. And Diggy can shoot, of course, but Diggy's not typically your prime. You're not intending on him being your primary ball handler. He's going to play more of the 2 guard, which he's very undersized for. So, like if El Marco's playing with them, that's 2 guys that are not defensive liabilities, but 2 guys that aren't above average defenders necessarily. So I think it would be a little bit of a challenge fit wise, but I'm all for it. I still think the most important returning player on this roster next year is Rickey's Passmore to me, outside of Flory, of course.
Okay. I was like, bro, Flory, duh. But we do have to get at least one guy because my thing is, and we got to get him quick. I just went on a rant earlier about we need guys to step it up. Part of that is also we need guys to build some chemistry together long before the season starts. And the faster that someone can get on campus or at least just start practicing with the guys, that's going to be all the better for us.
And it could be a guy like Samis Calderon that's coming in as a freshman, big body. Yeah. He's going to develop. He's going to hit the weight room over the summer, probably put on 15 pounds. He could be that guy. But as I look at it right now, and this is let's say Diggy comes back. You're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scholarship players with Diggy. We know that these scholarships go to 15 this next year with the way they're changing the rosters. KU will have 14 though, because they still have to give up one more scholarship spot from the NRI or in whatever infractions.
Self-imposed.
Self-imposed from the NCAA investigation, the sanctions. But they do actually get one more scholarship out of it. So that's 8 guys. You've got 6 spots. My question is over under 3.5 incoming transfers, assuming everybody else is back, and they fills the rest out with walk-ons.
Under
100%. Because 3.5 would put them at 11.5 scholarships, so you're still 3 short. So I think I guess what I'm really asking is, as we look past the 10th spot, how much of the 10 through 14 next year do we think are true scholarship players / walk-on guys that get a scholarship bump just to fill in the roster? Because I don't think we're not going to go 14 deep with true scholarship players. It just doesn't make sense in college basketball anymore. So I'm going to set the over/under at 3.5 incoming transfers.
Oh, I'll say under. Bill likes to play a tight lineup, so I wouldn't think he'd load up on actual scholarship guys.
And I guess one that again I feel bad. A couple weeks ago we did this thing about the guys that have transferred in the Bill Self era into Kansas, and I left Noah Shelby off the list because he's currently on the team. He presumably would also be back unless he enters the portal and goes somewhere. A returning point guard that hasn't really got any talk at all, but he could possibly be the 9th guy on this roster that is back as a current scholarship player. Well, walk-on guy that's like a preferred walk-on type role.
Right.
Any other thoughts on Kansas basketball related? Otherwise, I got some NBA things, Bencher, that I would like to throw at you because we haven't done NBA talk in a while. which of course we can do that on a full episode too. But for anybody else comments that are watching, if you want some NBA talk, all for it. But we do want to make sure everyone gets their questions off about this roster construction, which we will of course continue to dive into over the next several weeks. Apache King and Noah are going back and forth in the comments right now about the ceiling of Darryn Peterson, too much pressure, not enough pressure. I'm very much I think Bill Self's going to let him go loose, and he's just salivating thinking about what this team could look like with Darryn Peterson. It's kind of weird to say that because he doesn't typically do that with freshmen, but he also hasn't had a freshman guard like this. I saw this on another podcast. I want to say it was Locked On Jayhawks. Derek had asked, what kind of players you want to see, and somebody put in that comment section a Wayne Selden type. I would love that. A big-bodied physical wing that can attack and play gritty defense, can do a little bit of ball handling, but can also go get a bucket. I think that would be another interesting add. Somebody that's that kind of player type. Wayne Selden wasn't tremendous in his time here, but developed. And by the time he was a junior, he was a dog, and he was a guy that could go get a bucket. So I think that physical wing would be fantastic. Because again, I loved what we saw with Zeke this year, but Zeke wasn't quite a physical prowess. He was a tall guard, but tall, lanky. And I think if he had another 20 pounds of muscle on him and was a little bit more physical play style, his ceiling would have been higher. There's also a very small chance that if NCAA changes a few more rules, Zeke could get a fifth year too.
No way.
I doubt it happens,
What?
but I would take it. I kind of wish we could have got Zeke 2 years ago and watched him be in this roster 2 straight years and develop, because I think that would have been great. But yeah, need some dogs. Need some dogs for sure this offseason. One guy that I got some flack for posting it. I can't remember where he played this last season off the top of my head, but Noah Pringle, freshman year at Alabama, playing alongside Nick Pringle, playing alongside Noah Clowney at Alabama, 6'10", athletic big man, upperclassman now. I kind of like that. And then I tweeted it. I'm going to pull it up real quick. I watched literally 10 seconds of this guy's highlight reel, and I was like, sign me up. Gosh, what was his name? Somebody posted it earlier today, and I went ballistic just watching it. Oh, where is it? South Carolina State sophomore center Drayton Jones, 6'11", from Houston, Texas, averaged 13 points last year, 1.7 blocks a game. I kid you not, just watched the first 10 seconds, and it was amazing. Big jump, amazing shot blocker. I just keep thinking him and Flory next year could be in the paint. Nobody would freaking score at all in the paint ever. Now, they might give up a lot of threes, but nobody would score in the paint. But I think another athletic big big man like that is a strong defender, can rebound well, I think would be a lot of fun. But we'll come up with more portal targets. I mean, honestly, Vern's going to have most of those on the Could Be Wrong podcast, and if you get the KU hearings, which everybody should subscribe to because he gives out great intel on that, there's going to be a lot of great portal talk for sure. But I'm going to let the comment section keep doing their thing. I'm going to switch gears to NBA for a second here. And Spencer, I've been dying to get your thoughts on the utter catastrophe that is Nico Harrison as a general manager, and how ridiculous he looks right now, saying he wants to go all in on defense with Anthony Davis. And then you're seeing all these former Maverick players just balling out. Not just the Luka. I mean, we can say the Luka trade, probably one of the most ridiculous trades we've ever seen. Quentin Grimes balling out for Philadelphia. And that was a bad look there because he was doing nothing in Dallas, wasn't getting a lot of playing time for whatever reason. Goes to Philly and is basically a 30-point a night shooter. And instead you get Caleb Martin, and I don't think he's even played for you yet. You let Jalen Brunson walk 2 years ago and don't want to bring him back, and he's a perennial all-star and all-NBA type player. Gosh, who else am I missing that they've traded away in the last 2 years that has – anyway, Nico Harrison, like, how does he have a job?
He shouldn't. He should be a janitor at a elementary school. I don't even think he's qualified to have that job.
He should
anyway.
get fired just for the Luka trade alone. But everything else,
Yes.
literally every
He
move
fired
he's
for
made.
everything.
Somebody I'm going to pull it up. Somebody posted it of all the former Dallas Maverick players that since Nico Harrison took over as GM are no longer on the team that he actively chose to get rid of. Now, I do very much like Gafford and Lively. I think they're a terrific combo. I very much like the Najee Marshall signing in the offseason. He looks great, and I like PJ Washington.
Yeah.
Spencer Dinwiddie coming back is having a little bit of a resurgence, but sucks. Kyrie goes down.
Fancy.
Terrible for Kyrie to go down, obviously, but yeah, had to talk about that. We gotta talk. I don't want to talk about LeBron, but we gotta talk a little bit about LeBron and Bronny Jr. And how Bronny has
Bronny
one
goat.
good game in the NBA, and now everyone's all over the prospect he could be. So, has there ever been a worse turn of events for a basketball franchise than what has happened to Dallas in the last 3 months?
No, this is I think truly historic. How bad it has been, and to me, I'll give you my opinion on the basketball side of things, and then I'll give you my conspiracy side of things, because to me, this is there's just no way I can make sense of this basketball wise. So so the argument is Luka's overweight, not a great defender. We wanna win now mode. You guys just went to the NBA Finals, and he averaged 37 and 7 on one leg. I don't care. There's a clip going on in TikTok. I don't care if Luka Doncic is smoking crack out of the packed games. You cannot trade this guy. Like, there's a video of a guy saying that, and it's funny, but at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, honestly, if it was affecting his gameplay, sure. But Luka is a historically great offensive player. And he's one of the only guys to me since LeBron James where you could put him on an average team and they could become a finals threat.
Which is what they were last year.
Which they were. They went to the finals, it wasn't very close. The Celtics were a much better team. But, I like Anthony Davis a lot. And funny thing is, Anthony Davis has actually played, I believe, more games than Luka Doncic has in the last, I think, 1 or 2 seasons. He's been very reliable and very healthy the last couple of years. Now, the first game he plays for them, it gets hurt. So that's not looking too good. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's that team's not a finals threat. They're not going to the finals here, even if Kyrie and AD were healthy. So to me, it just doesn't make any sense basketball wise. Now, if let's say I was on some sort of narcotic or whatever Nico's on, and I said, okay, I want to trade Luka Doncic. Okay, let's pretend that makes sense. You call one team, you get one offer. Are you out of your mind? I'm calling every single. I am literally pulling out my GM phone book or whatever they use, and I'm calling every single team, and I'm saying, Mikal Bridges,
or just put out the
26
statement.
draft
Who
picks.
wants Luka?
Are you kidding me? You see Rudy Gobert, Mikal Bridges, and all these far inferior players get so many first-round draft picks, and you call the Lakers and you get Anthony Davis and Max Christie, and you're like, I don't need to hear it anymore.
Don't need to hear
29 other teams, I'm done. I'm cool. Hey, that's fine. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If he did his due process and he got a massive haul, multiple draft picks, I can stomach that as a Mavericks fan. I just can't. If I'm a supporter of Dallas, I'm like, what are you doing? Now, that brings me to my point. Here's why this actually happened. That new ownership group wants to build a casino or something, and they didn't want to pay Luka Doncic the max because they wanted more money to do that. Because it's Dallas, man. That's just what it is. Or I've heard they want to move the team to Vegas, too. I've heard all sorts of things. I think there's some sort of conspiracy going on because Jason Kidd, you would have thought Jason Kidd's family was just taken from him and kidnapped in that press conference. I
don't know how he showed up to work the next day. I would have quit.
Dude, I would not. You could not.
Especially after Kyrie got hurt, I would have said, "Yeah, I'm done."
No, you're not dragging me to that press conference after trading away my franchise player without because he wasn't consulted. There's just no way he wasn't consulted.
No, nobody. It was hush hush.
No, it was hush hush.
Ownership didn't even know, supposedly.
No, no. So to me,
Which
I don't know.
find hard to believe. Your owner, you can't make a trade like that and not have your ownership know. But Mark Cuban was like, yeah, I know he's
Mark,
not the main owner, but
Mark Cuban, yeah. So it doesn't make any sense for the Lakers. Just all-time fleece of the century.
you want to give us Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis?
Yeah, heck
Okay.
yeah. Oh, we got to give up Max Christie too. Yeah, I don't care.
Take him.
You don't want Dalton Connect? Okay. Yeah,
or Austin Reeves, or a single draft pick. Like what? Or I don't know if they got one or two, but
they got the 2029 first or something.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, in 5 years. Yeah, but the Lakers look fantastic. That team looks like they're firing on all cylinders. And now when LeBron retires, they're good. They're set up. I think they got pieces to be competitive for 10 years now. So great for the Lakers. I think it's just bad for basketball in general. I don't know how to explain it. Like that. It should have got vetoed. It should have been Chris Paul to the Lakers. Like that's how bad it was. But
yeah, and the only thing I can think of is if you play the long game here, I can understand. Sure, we want to go in Anthony Davis. He's been a winner.
Sure.
I get it, but he's not on the books for that much longer than what Luka would have been with a max contract.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it too is we don't see Luka as the guy that we can win a championship with, which is it's fair. It's a fair statement.
Yeah.
The way he was playing for Dallas. Now, since he's played for Lakers, he looks very different. I think it's motivation's a huge factor. So I think they're looking at as, can we get a guy like Giannis in the offseason? Can we convince a Devin Booker to want out of Phoenix later? Maybe in a year or two, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum say, hey, Boston's been great. I want something different, or they just go get Kevin Durant in the offseason. So I think some of it's that where they want to have the ability to move money around, but it's stupid. It's just freaking stupid.
Oh, man.
And I don't know. The next one I want to transition to is Jimmy Butler going from Miami to Golden State. And it's actually looked pretty good move for them so far.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're better. They get another ball handler, but they look old. They look tired. Jonathan Kuminga coming back is going to be a huge lift for them, but I thought that was an interesting move. Quick shout out Damian Lillard. That sucks.
Yeah,
might not play again this year. Might not play for who knows how long. Those blood clot issues are popping up more frequently in basketball. Uncommon for a guard his size. Usually it's the bigger guys. Like again, Wemby, same thing, going through blood clot issues. Sucks for them. I think this is the last season we see Giannis in Milwaukee.
Oh, wow.
I think he's gone because they have done nothing since their championship, and everybody they put in around him just does not work out. Could be interesting there.
Sad, very sad.
Outside of that, the NBA really it's been the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's been the Boston Celtics, it's been Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland, and then the quiet team, the Houston Rockets. Yeah, Lakers, they're there, but it's been rough the last couple of weeks for them.
Yeah,
they've lost some games, but Houston very quietly on the Western Conference picking up. I'm all in on OKC. I've been a fan of them ever since they moved to Oklahoma City. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, for whatever crap people want to give him for getting to the foul line a lot, he does, and he scores all the time. And they are probably the best coached team in the league and the best chemistry, and I think they could win a championship this year.
I agree.
Outside of that, like there really hasn't been that much else. I mean, the NBA has been a little bit disappointing as far as stories go. You've got, some good stories with Orlando, Paolo Banchero. Again, how about we go back to that episode, Spencer, where we talked about that draft. You and I were both going into that being like, why is Paolo Banchero not getting enough talk why is it just Jabari Smith and Chet Holmgren? It should be Paolo Banchero. Sure enough, goes number one overall, has looked every bit of the part for sure.
Yeah.
How about Jayhawks in the NBA for a second? Christian Brown, best KU player in the NBA right now?
I can't think of anybody
because
else.
Joel Embiid doesn't want to play basketball, and can't play because he's always hurt. Again, not trying to throw shade at him, but he is always hurt. But yeah, Christian Brown, I have several plays on him to be most improved player, and he has looked incredible. We said at the beginning of the year that he was going to slide into the KCP role and look really good, and he has not disappointed whatsoever. Been very impressed with him. Andrew Wiggins has looked pretty good in Miami. Good fit there. Jalen Wilson, not so bad up in Brooklyn, has had a couple nice games coming off the bench. Kevin McCullough gets his first points the other night. Back-to-back triple-doubles in the G League. Shout out there.
Time.
Grady and
Furphy
Ochai.
hasn't done much. Yeah, you got the Toronto Jayhawks, and they actually have looked. Grady and Ochai have looked pretty good for them. They both have just been kind of injured this year.
Yeah.
But Ochai was on a stretch to start the year when Scotty Barnes was out, where he was like single-handedly keeping my fantasy team alive for the first few weeks. Started off like 6-0, and Ochai was a big part of that. Sucks that Doak's not on a team. Sucks that Devontae Graham can't get picked up. Marcus Garrett had a quick splash with the Hornets last week. Man, what else? Any other? Oh, the Morris twins. Markieff back with the Lakers.
We talked about Grimes a little earlier, but you can mention him again if you want.
I don't know if I count him anymore because he transferred
I
out.
count him.
I get
Once
it.
a Jayhawk, always a Jayhawk.
I still watch him. Kelly Oubre has been pretty decent for Philly. He's been injured a little bit this year too, but man, there was something else I want to throw at you NBA wise, and of course now it's not coming to me. But
Bronny.
Oh yeah, let's talk a little bit about Bronny.
Oh yeah.
Overrated, underrated, rightfully rated. What does his outlook look like? I don't buy into any of the hype. He's never been a big scoring threat. He's not going to be that in the NBA. I don't care. He scored 34 the other night in G League, had 17 the other night for the Lakers. He's on that team because his dad is LeBron. I'm not saying he's not talented. He is not an NBA ready player. He is getting roster spots over guys that are much more deserving.
All right.
Like who?
That's my take.
Let me review it. Let me review it. Bronny James was a McDonald's All-American who went to USC, almost died, had a cardiac issue, almost died, did not play for an entire year.
Shout out Ty and Grant Foster.
Yeah, shout out Ty and Grant Foster, absolutely. I think Bronny to me has always been a really good prospect in terms of he's a good shooter. He's got really good IQ, really good defender, really good passer. To me, he is absolutely an NBA caliber player. Do I think he got drafted to the Lakers in particular because of LeBron? Sure. I mean, I'm sure that was a decision that, could have been pulled by, I'm sure that was influenced by LeBron. But do I think he deserves a roster spot on a team in general? Absolutely. He's tearing it up in the G League. He's played fantastic. He started off very rough in the first couple of G League games, but since then he has really gotten rhythm. And I gotta say, man, if you're scoring 39 points in the G, I don't care if it's a G League, you're playing against pro caliber guys. You belong there. And I think, do I ever think he's going to be a superstar, all-star? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. But do I think he's an NBA player? Absolutely. I mean, he checks a lot of boxes. He's a little undersized. To me, he's played so far. He's played in garbage time a few minutes. You're not going to do anything to him.
You're not going to look great.
I don't know. I think it was Gilbert Arenas that said if he played 20 minutes a night, he'd be. I'm not on the Gilbert Arenas train or whatever the heck that was, but I do think that over time he can definitely develop into a solid player. So I'm biased. LeBron's my favorite player, whatever. But I think Bronny James, to me, I saw some comps for him for like Drew Holiday and stuff like that. I think he's definitely capable of being a really good defender and shooter. So like only
poor man's Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, I mean Lonzo Ball without the size and stuff like that. But again, he was on track to be, pretty good, and he had a massive setback with his health. So I definitely think that calls for some grace. That's fair. Yeah,
Austin, you got any NBA takes you want to get off? Any thoughts?
I mean, I don't really have a whole lot. I think you guys kind of said some of the ones I had in the back of my mind. But yeah, you can definitely make an argument for CB being the best, basketball player in the NBA right now. He's just been unbelievable. I mean, just to see his improvement all the way from his rookie year until now. I mean, he's unbelievable. And I wish we had players like him still around. But
yeah,
that's a different conversation for another day.
Two-way stud that has looked pretty good in that rotation. Ooh, let's talk about the Suns.
Oh.
I mean, what a dumpster fire. Like, next to the Dallas Mavericks, you got to look at their GM and go, what were you thinking? I was never on board with the Bradley Beal move. I thought that made zero sense. They could have used that contract money and gone after Jimmy Butler instead in the offseason. They could have used that money to bring in a legitimate big man since they decided they didn't want DeAndre Ayton. But instead, they bring in another ball-dominant guard who needs to score and is an average defensive threat, if that, but undersized. And I mean, first off, I don't think enough Bol talk is happening. Bol, best player on that team next to Devin Booker. I think Bol
Kevin
needs
Durant.
25 minutes a night. 25 minutes a night, Bol. I want to see him shoot threes all night and dunk over guys. But yeah, the Suns have been a disaster. I mean, to me, I think they're the 76ers of the West. A lot of guys that are great, talented players, but the fit just hasn't worked out for whatever reason.
Right.
I think Kevin Durant at times looks tired. I think at times he looks still like one of the best players in the league. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't quite worked, and it's because their bench is not very good. Even though they have guys, I think Monte Morris was a very underrated point guard that gets no look there. But the Suns a disaster. Like I don't know what has gone worse. I mean, I think you got to say Philly with Paul George. Paul George has been much worse for the Sixers. I mean, that experiment. Wow, what a failure! If I was Tyrese Maxey, I'd be asking out because he's the best player on that team right now. Next to Quentin Grimes, of course. Quentin Grimes is balling out. But
hey, jumping back to Monte Morris really quick, he can go kick rocks. if you're an OG KU fan like me at this point.
Hey, Iowa State point guards tend to do pretty decently in the NBA though, because they play hard.
Kick rocks.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton balling it up out there.
Kick rocks, Tyrese. Don't like you.
What did Grimes said 22?
I don't like Iowa State, dude. I'm tired of losing to Iowa
Oh
State.
yeah, I can't stand them either. But they always put out good guards. But I don't know. That's about all I got. We've been at this a long time. We can wrap up.
Last thing, Keegan. It'll take 1 minute. What's the latest update on the KCSA Pod Bracket Challenge?
Ooh, yeah. Let's
Where are
pull
we
that
at?
up.
Oh
That's
man.
good idea.
How's Austin doing? Is he in last or what? I haven't looked.
I'm in.
Hey.
You're in last.
I'm last in the fantasy league. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
Funny.
and you
I didn't
never
mention
traded
fantasy.
with me. You didn't.
Yeah,
make the
but you
trade with me.
said last place, insinuating that I was in last place in fantasy. I know what you're doing.
I didn't say a word. Me
This
and Spencer
is
are going at it
slowly
right now in the
loading.
playoffs.
Okay.
I was in last. Maybe I've recovered since then, but
Oh, by the way,
KCSA Pod Challenge. JB is tied for first with Brooke
I
and
am?
Cooper. I am in
Don't say I
second
don't know
with
ball.
1 point less.
Let's
Austin
go.
is also in second. Austin and I are tied for second. Spencer
roll
is
down, Keegan.
Spencer's 7 points behind the leader.
Okay.
I'm the only one that did two brackets, supposedly. Apparently,
I should-
one
I
has
did
more
it
upsets than
second.
the other. Oh, you did?
I thought so. It's called Spencer Hopes, and it's KU was the champion.
Oh, it's I didn't. You didn't get
It's
it
not
added in.
even. Yeah, I may not have added it. To
But everybody who is left, other than Brooke, still has their national championship team alive. Austin was the only one that went Duke.
Houston.
A lot of Houston and a lot of Auburn.
Go Cougars. Let's go.
Bro,
I was
don't-
going to go Florida, and then I switched at the last minute to Houston because I
Florida
like
I love
better.
Houston, dude. I'm just gonna say it. Like I as much as Houston has beat up on Kansas since joining the Big 12, I just can't hate them. Like, is that weird for me to say? Like, I just can't hate Houston. I'm not there yet.
I mean, you
I
want the
like
Big 12 to do well,
I do.
but they just
Yeah.
they look
I like
like
Kelvin
they're worse for
Sampson.
more. Yeah, good coach.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What's been the best game of the tournament so far?
St.
Oh.
John's in Arkansas.
I'd say Maryland, Colorado State.
Maryland, Colorado State. Was
Yeah,
good.
the ending on that was great. Gosh, travel, no travel, who cares? 6'10" Derek Queen. Would have loved to see him in a Kansas uniform. Gets it up over off the glass to his left, going to his left,
That's tough.
off the backboard to win it. Yeah, that was incredible. The McNeese update or upset in round one was, dude. Okay, here you go. We got to talk about this. Amir, what's his name? Amir Khan.
Oh my God, Amir Khan.
Just got a 6-digit NIL deal for being a student manager, equipment manager, because of his stupid tracksuit
Yeah,
and
his
I
boombox.
saw him.
TikTok boomboxing.
I saw him there in Providence.
Yeah. You
Well,
did?
he's got
I saw
3
him.
security guards now.
Oh
He had a
my
higher
God,
security
dude.
team.
I literally
Hey.
got him. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say he knows good music. Can I just put that out there? He knows the tracks. He really does. Anyway,
Is that what the kids call it these days?
I don't know.
Trek.
I'm not a kid. I'm literally the oldest one here. No, I don't know.
I was gonna say, whenever they walked out for the Purdue game, I was there. I saw Amir walk out with the freaking boombox and everybody, just that was so cool. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it wasn't just me. There were like, I'd say probably 15 or 20 other people, doing media for day 2 of the tournament. Everybody's got their phones out. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, I just want to see him. I just want to get a video." Like everybody was.
And now
like,
the guy
there was like
is
almost an
filthy
entire
rich.
fan base just waiting for him to come out with the boombox. It was crazy. But unfortunately for McNeese, they Purdue, but belt to you know what.
Imagine how much his romantic game, his Riz has just risen since coming back to campus. Like,
hey, now he's gonna fall away to NC State.
This average looking dude, and he's about to come back to campus, and all the girls are gonna be all over him, dude.
I feel like such a boomer. I don't even know who that is. Like before this,
you gotta look him up. No one before knew who he was before the tournament.
Oh, I thought he was famous or something before.
Oh no, no one knew him.
Oh, okay.
He had a very
literally a nobody.
I think it wasn't right before it was like in their conference tournament that he went viral for his entrance with the team
where he literally does nothing.
Kodak.
He literally does nothing and it just walks.
He came out to a Kodak Black song and he knew every lyric and it was actually really good.
Here is Amir Khan.
Bro.
Yellow jumpsuit and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw him in the yellow jumpsuit, man. That was great.
Yeah, but now he's worth 100,000.
Hey, should I get a jumpsuit like that, you guys?
100%.
Yeah, and you get an NIL deal.
Oh my God. Can we make that on the merch site? Can we talk about merch?
Let's talk about merch. I am in the process of looking for some other local places to do some merch again instead of doing it online. Yeah, shout out to a few people that have messaged me. Sully is one of them who said he would totally cop a sweatshirt if we put it out there.
You guys want a shirt?
I can reorder new stuff. I just haven't ordered stuff in a long time because we haven't. Please wear this, JB. Yes, wear the suit. Wear the jumpsuit. Yeah, so merch is definitely going to be in the works again. I think we're at a much better place this year to do merch than where we were last time we did them. Because last time we had about 300 subscribers, now we're over 1,100.
Coming up on 12, baby.
Heck yeah.
What I need though is I need all of our subscribers to watch more because we're not quite to YouTube ad revenue just yet. We need like 4,000 hours of streaming, and we're like at 2,400. So I need everybody to like get 5 YouTube accounts, subscribe, and then just plug your phone in, and just watch everything.
Heck yeah.
Because we're on our way for sure. And it's going to happen this year. Yeah, merch, going to work on a little bit of that again. T-shirts. I'm wearing the Dry Fit one right now. This is my favorite shirt I own. My son actually loves it too. He loves the color red and stares at the logo all day and likes to eat it. So all in favor of that. This has been my favorite shirt. So yeah, hopefully I can get this stuff available sometime here, spring into summer, to anybody that would like to cop some merch. Could do so. And we'll probably have to give some shirts out over some giveaway. Oh, way overdue now, but somebody had posted way back, and I think it was Jayhawk Edits, about Paul Pierce. We do have a signed Paul Pierce jersey that is going to be part of an upcoming giveaway at some point. Can't tell you when just yet because I have not decided that, but
burn it.
It'll be for some sort of milestone.
You burn it.
And I still got to give away the Devin Neal jersey, signed jersey too.
Paul Pierce, man, I don't like him. Spencer, you shouldn't like Paul Pierce either because Paul Pierce hates LeBron. He hates him.
Hey, he speaks the truth though.
He's not. He ain't no truth. Come on.
How do we have 170 people still watching on Twitter right now? We're not even talking about anything. 8 people left on YouTube. The 8 people that are still on YouTube, I'm impressed with you because 2 of them are myself on my phone and TV in the living room. So the other 6, I don't know who you guys are that are still watching, but we appreciate it. Twitter, love everything there. Those of you that are watching on Twitter, comment more. on Twitter. We'd love to get some more feedback, throw some questions our way. Didn't get any Twitter mailbag questions this go around, which I don't anticipate. We don't have a big subscriber base just yet on Twitter, but we'd love to do some more interaction, some polls on Twitter and things like that to get some more things going. So yeah, do that. Boys, anything else? Anybody else got any takes you want to get off?
I don't think so.
LeBron's a GOAT.
No, I think I've said everything. Just
KU football has an
glad
open
that this
practice
season's over.
next weekend, Saturday, April 5th. KU football has an open practice to the fans Saturday morning.
I'll be there.
I was going to try to. I don't think I'll be able to now, but hoping for that. Still hoping to get a couple football players on that are in the process of preparing for the NFL draft. Hopefully that does happen. Haven't got that confirmed yet. But yeah, good things coming for those that are patiently waiting. Spencer, you got anything else?
No, think so.
All right.
It's a wrap.
One of our longest ones yet, and I don't know how we managed to go this far.
By the way, I did not send what?
No, we got to 172. We're about to sign off. That's our highest ever.
By the way, I did not celebrate prematurely about the Mizzou softball game. They did win. They won whenever I said they won. I thought they had 3 more outs or whatever. I got thrown off. I saw a tweet, we got 3 more outs to go. I don't know, but we did win. It was 3-0. When I said it was over, it was over. So I apologize for being like, oh wait.
Is there a hashtag for KU softball right now? Is there a chant? I know we got Crank the Hog for baseball, but I don't know what there is for softball.
A roach or something? I don't know. Hey, if Sully's in here, he might come up with something
I'm sure
for
he
us,
will,
and then we can take it away, and we can take it and run with it.
And then figure out how Foggy gets merch out so freaking quick before it gets taken down for trademark issues. But my gosh, they put an idea together for a shirt, and it is out literally within 48 hours.
I've seen people at baseball games, including the ones in the student section, wearing Crank the Hog stuff.
He got that out quick.
Saw people with pullovers on, hats, shirts. I mean, it was all over the place. So the Crank the Hog movement is well in full force.
Yep,
I love
100%. 100%. All right, let's get out of here. This is overdue. I'm gonna have to chop a lot of this out to post on Spotify later for people to listen.
Oh God.
But yeah, thank you to everyone that has been trugging along with us.
Yes,
I would like to think that we are working right up there with some of the best in the business when it comes to KU sports talk on podcasts, because pretty much all of us that do this do all these live shows, and it's a lot of fun. So we appreciate you guys supporting us. Support all of them. I listen to all the KU podcasts myself, even some that are on Spotify that aren't on YouTube yet. And we've got some crossover episodes coming up here with a couple KU podcast guys that are maybe not as big as what some of the ones you guys are used to, like Ain't No Seats and Could Be Wrong, but a couple of other KU podcast guys that we're looking to do some stuff with. I'm also putting together an event for fans to come out to, potentially some watch parties coming up down the road to kind of interact with you guys more and to just showcase other people that do KU content. So looking forward to that. Yeah, just wait for the Dick's DP movement.
Can't wait.
I love it.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But all right, we'll wrap it up there. Like and subscribe as always. Hit us up Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at KCSA Pod. We will catch you guys in the next episode.
Rock job.